All right, so this aria is one of the most popular arias in the world. It has been done by almost every soprano that you know. It has been in so many movies, gives you the sense of immediately this is Italy. And that aria is... All right, here we go. Hi, welcome. This is Cassandra with Opera for Black Folks, serving culture to all folks. And on this channel, I make videos about opera, the classical arts, and the artist's journey from a Jamaican American perspective. Wagwan. Okay, so today we're jumping into one of the most popular arias on the planet, and that is O Mio Babbino Caro. It's so great. It is just one of those great arias that hits all of the points of amazingness that is Italian opera. It's been in so many wonderful bits and pieces of American culture that we're all used to hearing this aria, but we might not know what the heck is going on or what it's about. It just sounds beautiful. So we're gonna jump into that today. Here we go. So now we're going to listen to O Mio Babbino Caro from the opera Gianni Schicchi, written by Giacomo Puccini. The opera that we're going to focus on today is Gianni Schicchi, Gianni Schicchi, Gianni Schicchi. Gianni Schicchi, and it is a part of a collection of 3 one-act operas, which I will put here, here, and here. Gianni Schicchi is the one we are taking care of today, or focusing on today. The collection is called Il Trittico, and Giacomo Puccini wrote this opera in 1917 to 1918. Yes, 1917 to 1918. So it's an early 19th century opera, and the last part it's really kind of cool. Gianni Schicchi is based on a story of actual events that was then put into the poem from Dante's Inferno, or the Divine Comedy, which is also 3 stories in one big Divine Comedy. And the first one is Inferno, which is where we find this little section called Canto ×3, right? So a couple things I want to say about this opera before we jump in. It kind of gives me Weekend at Bernie vibes.
What kind of a host invites you to his house for the weekend and dies on you?
I don't know.
Lomax told whoever he's talking to not to kill us if he's around, right?
Yeah, but Lomax is dead. He's not around anybody anymore.
I know that. You know that. Nobody else knows that. Huh? Oh! Whisper! It looks good enough. Let's go!
Where it's basically people impersonating a dead man's life to take advantage of his wealth. And that's kind of what this is. It's also a comedy. Today's story is set in Florence or Firenze, Italy in 1299. So the beginning of the 13th century. So we come to Buoso Donati's house and we see, Buoso, he is in this bed. He looks really ill. He's coughing. His family is all around him and they're all looking very sad. Everybody stages this a little bit differently, but everybody was very tentative, no big tears, no big emotions, just very quiet as they listened to Buoso taking his final breaths. And it's really sad because you just watch this man die. As soon as he dies, his family doesn't start crying and saddened by his passing. They start scavenging around in his house trying to find his will because someone heard a rumor that Buoso was going to donate his considerable wealth to a local monastery, and they were like, hell no. So the family's looking around and Rinuncio, he's the one that finds the will first. And before he hands the will over to his Aunt Zita, who is the cousin of Buoso, he's like, look, if I give you this will, you give me what I want. And she's like, yeah. What Rinuncio wants, he wants to marry this girl. His Aunt Zita is not in approval of that person. We'll get to that in a bit. But in this moment, they read the will. They're sitting there, they go through it, they're like, oh, yeah. Then they get to the good part and they realize that the rumors were true. Buoso is going to leave his money to the local monastery. And they're like, oh no. They're gonna get all that money and I'm not gonna get any of it. They're just like a terrible group of people, I read through the story the first time. I was like, oh, what wrong with these people them? They're just so weird. I had to read the story again. I'm like, they did what? Rinuncio stops the melee and he's like, look, I really think that we should call Gianni Schicchi. And immediately Zita, his aunt, is like, no, we're not gonna call him because he's of low birth, he's got no money, and the reason that Rinuncio wants him is because he wants to marry Gianni Schicchi's daughter, Lauretta. Rinuncio realizes if he gets Lauretta there, then maybe she can, encourage this whole thing forward, as well as Gianni Schicchi. So Rinuncio sends off Gerardino, and Gerardino is like running off. He gets Gianni Schicchi and Lauretta, and they come back and they see the family there, all bemoaning the fate that their money's gonna go to this monastery. And Gianni Schicchi sizes these people up. He's like, oh my God, them rotted people. They're just ready to throw this man's money, even though he's doing it for a good cause. They're just ready to throw his money away. This is ridiculous. So immediately Miss Zita's like, forget you, get the heck out of this house. And he's like, I don't want to deal with you people anyway. As he's going to leave, that's when Lauretta begs her father, oh mio babbino caro, mi piace bello. Basically the aria that we just heard, right? She's basically manipulating him with her sadness and like, oh, I'm gonna go and throw myself into the water, and if you don't, let me have this. Gianni Schicchi is like, I'm not working with this crazy family because they don't think I'm good enough for them. He leaves in a huff. And then he comes back and changes his mind because he sees an opportunity here, and he realizes that no one knows that Buoso has died except for the people in the room. And he says, let's have the body moved out of the way. He orders the body moved to another room. Just as they're moving the body, there's a knock on the door. It's Buoso's doctor, Spinellocchio, and he's calling to check on him, boasting that he's never lost a patient yet. The family's trying their best to be like, no, come back another day. And Schicchi is off in the corner pretending to be Buoso and manages to pull it off. So the doctor leaves satisfied. In this moment, Gianni Schicchi decides, he reveals his plan. He says, I will disguise myself as Buoso. Somebody go and get a notary and I'll rewrite the will. It's a great aria. It's Sicori dal nato. It's very cute, very funny, right? And so family's on board, and as they're getting this ready, they run off to go get the notary. As they're getting Gianni Schicchi changed to look like Buoso, they're singing this trio. It's kind of a fun trio, which is called Spogliati Bambolino. Okay, they're basically being like, come little one. And as they're singing this song, everybody's trying to bribe Gianni. They're like, hey, if you give me this, I'll give you 1,000. Hey, if you give me this, I'll give you $50. Hey, if you give me this, I'm gonna give you that. And he's like, yeah, okay. But everybody, except for Rinocchio, who really wants to be with Lauretta, and maybe a couple other family members, but for the most part, the major players is the mule, the house, and the mills of Signa. Everybody wants one of those things. They're Buozzo's most treasured possessions. Gianni Schicchi was smart. Before the notary arrives, he makes sure to remind the family. He's like, look, you know what happens when you're caught, you know, trying to change somebody's will? You get your hand chopped off and you get exiled. And they're like, yeah, right. That's what happens. Remember, 13th century. Everything's set. Gianni Schicchi is pretending to be Buozzo. It's believable. The notary arrives. He's got his 2 witnesses with him, and Schicchi dictates the will. He's like, I want a new will. The old one is null and void. This is how I'm distributing the money. And for the most part, he allocates the minor things to the people that were like, you know, he like gives some money to the poor. He gives a couple things that people did ask for. But then when he comes to the mule, the house, and the mills of Signa, that's when he decides to say that these final things are left to my devoted friend, Gianni Schicchi. And the lawyer and his witnesses are like, wow, that's really kind of him. Wow, Buozzo's such a nice man, so kind. It'll be so sad to see him gone. And, you know, the lawyer finishes up, and Gianni Schicchi even makes Zita pay extra to like everybody. He's like, oh, pay this person $100 and pay those other 2 people $50 while you're at it, you know? And the family is just fuming because these really are not great people. They're just trying to take advantage of him. But then Gianni Schicchi is like taking advantage of them on top of it to get back at them. So as the lawyer leaves, the family is outraged and they go into this spree of just looting around the house and taking things with them as Gianni Schicchi is laughing and kicking them out of now his house. And so he kicks them out, and it's really funny to watch everybody get really upset. All the while off to the side, once everybody kind of clears the stage, we see Rinuncio and Lauretta. They are finally together and they sing a love duet, Lauretta Mia. Gianni Schicchi comes in and he comes upon them and he's like, wow, you know, he breaks the 4th wall and starts to talk to the audience and basically says, this was a better use of Buozzo's wealth to help support a marriage. I can't think of a better reason. And then he goes, although the poet Dante has condemned me to hell for this act that I did commit, he asks the audience to please forgive him in light of extenuating circumstances. And so that's the end of this 1-act opera. All right, that's my share for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit that like button and maybe subscribe to my channel so that you can get more information about opera and what it is to be on the artist's journey and just learning more about classical arts with me, because I'm having fun as I'm learning about it and having fun sharing it with you. This is Opera for Black Folks, serving culture to all folks. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Ciao.